everybody, and thank you so much for the invitation. I'm an Dutch fashion tech designer, and I create things using all kinds of electronics and technologies. So I'm going to tell you something about my work. If you have any questions after this, or you want to reach out to me, this is my name, and this is where you can find me. So I do a lot of research. I research the body using body signals, and I also use sensors in order to measure the surroundings. So what is happening around my wearer, for example. So you can think of the different spaces that we have around the body: the public space, the social space, the personal space, and the intimate space, which you can see here on this little diagram. So what I do is I use a proximity sensor. So one of the dresses that you can see behind me is called the spider dress that I had a pleasure to work on with Intel, the semiconductor company. It is based with proximity sensor. So it measures the space in front of the design, the 8 meters in front of the design. And when somebody steps into the personal space, the dress is attacking because there's little servo motors built in these shoulder pieces in the little legs. So if correct, you can see that on this copy that is playing now. So somebody stepping into this personal space, the system is reacting. So it's almost like an input-output situation in where the wearer has this wearable device, which is an robotic device on the body. And it interacts based on the interaction that you have with this dress. Sometimes I like to hide the electronics that I'm using. Sometimes I like to show them. In this dress, I really wanted to show all these wires, where the sensors go and all of that stuff, to make it very educative almost, to be able to explain it easily. So I create wearable robotics. So I try to investigate these kinds of electronics and technologies on the body. Another of my dresses is the sensoric smoke dress. It is based and modeled after another animal, which is the octopus, or we call it the inkfish. The inkfish is pushing out ink, and then it can escape. So for me, that was a very almost emotional reaction, sort of, in where you can almost hide between maybe a layer of smoke. So that is what the smoke dress is based on, which you can see here. Again, it's based on sensors, and this dress measures how many people are in the direct surroundings of the dress. And the more people are in the direct surroundings of this dress, the more the smoke comes out almost, So it's really, almost about hiding behind this layer, this layer of smoke, which I find, very fun to create towards. The dress is fully 3D printed, and I created this design in 2012. Another of my designs is a robotic cocktail dress, so a dress that really makes you little cocktail shots. And I created that for another company called Cirque du Soleil. We know them from the theater. With them, I work a lot on things in where it steps into the real world almost, So we create things for the New York Fashion Week, and we basically come up with different kinds of concepts in where technology can be combined on the body. This design is using a peristaltic pump in the back piece, and this is a photo of one of the surfers walking around in the restaurant. So with my work, I investigate, even when we place technology on the body, what does it do? How can it become more social, playful, behavioral and defensive, expressive and sensitive? And how can fashion really become this interface, this digital interface, this interactive interface almost? I do a lot of collaborations. One of the collaborations that I've been doing was for the car company Audi, which you can see here. They had a new car coming out, and they asked me to create a collection based on that. So I use techniques that are from the car industry, 3D printing. I'm using robotics. I'm using here you can see the projection map dress in there. So in the first phase, you're always sketching out these ideas. You work them out maybe in the computer, maybe in real life. And then basically, they go on the catwalk, or wherever you're going to present the which you can see here on the little. I'm not going to show it all. You can find it on Wipprecht versus Audi. But it's really much fun because there's so much physical design that you need to do. There's so much digital design in the computer and everything, So it's never a boring moment almost. Part of the body is also working with prosthetics, working with, for example, legs. Some people, they are differently abled. They might not have their leg anymore or their arm. So this is a collaboration that I've been doing with Victoria Modesta. She's a bionic pop artist. And with her, I redefine how her legs can look like almost. So that was a leg that started to smoke like the smoke dress. This is a leg that makes music for Art Miami. And there's many legs that I created for her. This product is for Rolls-Royce. There's a Tesla coil in the back of the leg, and there's electricity going through her leg, like a physical electricity, which you can see in this movie. That was for a brand movie for Rolls-Royce, and it became this really cool leg that was pushing through electricity. So here you can see a little bit of the build of the leg. So everything's built into the shoe, and then it goes to that float space in the leg almost. And the other product, going from prosthetics to body signals, which I already mentioned. You can measure a lot of things from the body, which is really interesting. You can measure the brain signals, you can measure EMG muscle contraction, you can measure DDA skin response, galvanic skin response, pH levels of your sweat levels, respiration, the way we use our lungs or our lung volume accelerometer, like the place and space of our body parts, heart rate and heart volume, temperature. So there's a lot of things that we can measure from the body. And one of the projects that I recently did was based on brain signals. And other than making another dress or another prosthetic leg or something, I wanted to make a meaningful device. And I was doing an artist in residency at Ars Electronica, which is a big media center in Linz in Austria. And I wanted to create a device for children with ADHD. I wanted to create a device with some piece of technology built into a headset. And what I wanted to tackle is that medical devices often are created for children. They have this really medical kind of vibe to it. Children with, in this case, are being measured in a white room with a doctor in a hospital setting. And they have this whole cap of electrodes and sensors on their heads, which is not really very comfortable maybe for that child. So I wanted to make a difference in there. First way was to close out the amount of sensors that I was using. Then making a very playful headset. I chose to use a unicorn horn because it's playful, it's a magical device, and I could put a little camera in the front. So closing down these sensors, and here you can see some of that process. I created this, it's called Agent Unicorn, and it was doing the monitoring of these kids' brain activities. And when you have ADHD, things around you are more prone to have an effect on you. And I wanted to show this and discuss this with these children that I was working with. It's really cool because children really love the brain signals and anything that goes around in their head. And what the device was doing, it was measuring what was happening in their surroundings. And when their focus went on, I could measure this, and the camera went on and it would record anything that they were focused on for us to discuss later on. So this was the prototype. It doesn't look so nice when you're working on it. Then you integrate it, and this became the final device. It was such a success, actually, that we created a device out of it, which is the Unicorn BI, which you can get yourself now. It's a medical grade BCI for makers and for developers and all of that stuff. And we also create like free hackathons. So if you see on the website brain.io, you can find where these hackathons are happening. And this is inspired by Agent Unicorn. And it's a really fun way to get into maybe working with brain signals or something like that. So there's digital ones, and there's things that are physically happening online. So my name is Anouk Wipprecht, and once again, it was a pleasure to talk to you. If you have any questions or you want to get started with sensors or electronics and you don't know how, feel free to drop me a line or send me an email. And that's it. I'm looking forward to the rest of the
Wow, Anouk, that was amazing. There was so many comments. People say, super, that is pas creativiteit. Always great, love this. So a lot of enthusiasm here on the chat. And also, I think you could speak for hours. So many projects that you are working on. How do you choose where you spend your time?
Mostly it's really fun projects, and I like to sometimes juggle multiple of them. But it's really just my really big fascination, and I do during the week and on my weekends. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So I was completely blown away by this concept of robo-couture or couture. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I imagine that this is like a whole new part of the fashion industry. Are there like catwalks or specific exhibitions of your kind of work, or are you unique in the fashion industry?
I've been doing this for about 20 years, 18 or 20 years. So there's definitely like more interest. Technology becomes smaller, so it's more easy to integrate. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun to play around with. So yeah, but yeah, I think I'm one of the weirdest one in this field.
Yeah, so there are not yet fashion shows that show more of the robo-couture. You are the odd one out, the pioneer.
I think on catwalk it's a little bit hard because this is all about interaction with another person, and on a catwalk you don't really have that. So when I showcase my designs, it's more like in a space, and there's a one-on-one interaction with maybe another member or audience member or something like that. So these designs are better when they like walk around almost like a walking act or in a demo setting, I think, than a catwalk sometimes. But yeah, definitely like more of this, of course.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm making a note to self, and I'm sure the organizers are doing the same, that perhaps next year we can show your work in real life. But that is a whole different story. Anouk, thank you so much for sharing your passion and also telling a great story. See you next time. Bye-bye.